Thank you for considering the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP program. This video will give you information about the program overall and the application process. So what is Clayton County TAPP? Clayton County TAPP is a program that is heavily supported, that is on-the-job training for candidates with no previous education coursework to become certified teachers. We want individuals who are dynamic, charismatic, and are committed to helping our children succeed. So as we go through this program, these are some things that you would want to think about as you consider if Clayton County Public Schools TAPP is for you. So the ideal TAPP candidate must be a graduate of an accredited college or university, must have strong content knowledge in the subject area in which they want to teach, must be highly committed, a person that can take charge of a classroom immediately, and is overall dedicated to helping our students succeed. Now, TAPP is a non-traditional rigorous program. So a non-traditional program is a program that's not based in a college or university. So you don't go through college classes and do student teaching. You go through coursework here at the Department of Professional Learning, and your student teaching is really on-the-job training. So you are the teacher of record in your classroom every day. So the second bullet point, again, talks about that on-the-job training. And you also have support from people in your school and people from the district that will help you become a proficient teacher. Now, TAPP is not going to lead to another degree. If you've ever held a teaching certificate outside of a waiver certificate or a provisional certificate, then TAPP is not for you. TAPP is not an easy route to a new career in teaching. It is rigorous, and it is a program that will make you a proficient teacher. And again, it is a non-traditional program, so it will not replace a regular college teacher education program. So some of the commitments to enter our TAPP program here in Clayton County Public Schools. Our first commitment would be financial commitment. If you've done your research, you know that Clayton County Public Schools TAPP is the most cost-effective program in the state of Georgia because we do not ask for any fees up front. We finance your matriculation through the program. And because you go through the program in 2 years, we want to get a return on our investment. You are our investment. So we want you to stay in our county and help our children for as long as you possibly can. So what we want is for you to stay for 3 additional years after you complete the 2-year certification program. Now, we know life happens and you may not be able to complete those 3 years after you obtain certification. So what we ask is that you repay $1,000 for each year that you are unable to complete, which is still a fantastic value. Also, a financial commitment is the GACE test that you will take for the specific content area you wish to teach. Those test fees will be your responsibility. And then also note that a pre-TAPP essentials training is required before coming into the classroom. And that's a 2-week training and it is not paid. Now, some of the time commitments. I mentioned earlier about coursework. So you will have courses at night because we have to teach you how to be a proficient teacher. We've got to teach you pedagogy. So you will have those classes at night. Also, as mentioned before, pre-TAPP essentials. That's that 2-week non-paid training. So that's going to be part of your time commitment as well. And then also you have a new teacher induction. That's usually a 1-week training that starts after pre-TAPP essentials finishes. So you will not be paid a full salary for that, but there are sometimes stipends that are connected to new teacher induction. And please remember, TAPP is a 2-year program. We've designed it so you will be able to complete it within those 2 years. As mentioned, coursework. We do have coursework in the evenings. Our courses usually run from 5 p.m. to about 8 p.m. And you'll take those about an average of 2 evenings per week. We do also offer coursework in the summer. So again, those are those time commitments that you need to consider before coming into the program. And all coursework for all of our teacher pathways in TAPP are provided by Clayton County Public Schools. Now, speaking of coursework, here are the general courses that all TAPP candidates must take. You do see 2 courses on the right-hand side, Teaching of Reading and Writing and CRIS Learning Strategies. Those are required for all TAPP candidates except our elementary education TAPP candidates. But you can look through the rest of the list for the courses that you will be taking. Now, there are 2 programs that are in our TAPP program that do not require any previous college coursework. Those 2 programs are elementary education and special education. So for those 2 pathways, we will teach you the pedagogy, but we also will teach you the content. So there will be additional courses on top of the general courses you see on the screen now. So for elementary education, you will take an additional 7 courses on top of the general courses that you saw on the previous screen. These courses are required to help you teach our elementary students in an effective manner. Remember that elementary teachers usually teach all content areas. So because of that, you'll take courses in math, health and PE, social studies, and science in the areas of the content and then strategies and processes for teaching those particular areas. And then you'll have 3 courses that focus just on teaching students how to read. Now, one of the things that is another unique thing of the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP program is that with these 3 additional courses on reading, you will leave the TAPP program with a reading endorsement on your teaching certificate, which again, in other counties, you have to pay for. In our county, you don't have to pay for them. We provide them at the beginning of your TAPP journey. Here we have coursework for our special education pathway. So remember, we will teach you all the content you need to know to work with our special education population. And you can see those 6 additional courses on the screen. Now, I mentioned that we will have you take about 2 to 3 courses each week, and they are at night. We try to make sure that your courses don't run together, so you don't have more than 2 or 3 courses a week. And again, you won't be taking courses every week, but you provided the sample schedule so you can kind of see what it looks like. So if you are trying to come into our program in a general content field, that means secondary math or science or English language arts, those courses that require previous college coursework, you'll have about 2 courses a week that you'll be taking. And here's a sample schedule that shows 2 of our courses, Assessment for Learning and Identification and Education of the Exceptional Child. These 2 courses run on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they are blended sessions. That means sometimes you'll be at the Professional Learning Center at night taking those courses, and sometimes you will be at home taking the course over Zoom. So we have that blended coursework model. If you were taking our elementary education pathway, we know that there are those additional courses, so you'll have an additional course during your weeks. You see on this schedule, on Monday, there's a reading class for elementary education teachers, and that is, again, a blended session class. And we have the same type of thing for our special education classes. We see an additional course on Thursday. Some additional commitments and requirements for our classwork and for our TAPP program overall. All coursework that is provided by Clayton County Public Schools must be completed by TAPP candidates in a satisfactory manner. In order to stay in TAPP, you have to maintain employment as a CCPS teacher, a Clayton County Public Schools teacher. So you must receive a contract for those 2 years that you're in the TAPP program in order to continue in the program. And very importantly, we've gone over some of those time commitments and you see that there are a lot of them. So we ask that our candidates do not take on any extracurricular activities, whether that be teaching, mentoring, coaching, club or obligations, because they can sometimes interfere with your progress in the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP program. Now, let's look at the application process overall. So the first thing that you do is attend a TAPP interest meeting. So today you are in essence doing that. You are finding out information about the TAPP program. After our interest meeting, you'll complete a TAPP interest form, and you've received a barcode with that TAPP interest form, and you'll fill that interest form out, and you'll upload all of your unofficial transcripts from the colleges or universities you may have attended, and then also, if you have any GACE tests that you may have taken in past, you can upload those to the interest form as well. Now, if you haven't taken any GACE tests, that's perfectly fine. That interest form will activate us to provide you a GACE recommendation form. And the TAPP selection committee will look through your transcripts, look at what you've indicated on the interest form, and we will send you via email a GACE recommendation form with all of the GACE assessments that you need to take in order to complete your application packet. All tests must be taken before entry into the TAPP program. So here we go with the other parts of the application process. So you see that, got the interest form there. After you've completed that interest form and you have started your GACE test, you could go ahead and go online and complete that online application. That's going to be on the Clayton County Public Schools webpage in the Human Resources section, and you will look for the TAPP application. You will also need to submit your resume, those passing scores from those GACE content assessments, your GACE Educator Ethics exam, the completion certificate from that exam, and then again, those official transcripts of all colleges and universities attended. Now, we know that a lot of our colleges and universities have switched from those hard copy transcripts to electronic transcripts. So if your university or college does provide those, you will need to have those sent to the TAPP administrative assistant. And you can see the email address online for our administrative assistant. And you will send those to the admin assistant, and you'll put attention Teresa Brown, who is the TAPP administrative assistant. If you have paper copies of your transcript, you will need to have those sent directly to Ms. Brown as well. And I will give you the address that you will need to have those sent in a minute. You can also bring those to the Professional Learning Center. All right. So as I mentioned before, you need to have an academic major in one of the content areas if you are trying to go into a specific content area. So let's say that, again, you want to teach, let's say, high school science. All right. So if you want to teach that content area, we need evidence that you know the content. So you will need to provide transcripts that have at least 21 credit hours. On the screen it says semester hours. It's the same thing for a high school certification. So you will need to have that coursework on your transcript to support you coming into the TAPP program in that particular content. For middle grade certification, it's 15 semester hours or credit hours. So please make sure that when you are applying or filling out your interest form, that you make sure that you have that amount of semester hours. And then also we prefer those upper level coursework hours. That means your 3,000, 4,000 level courses or 300, 400 level courses. And again, this is not applicable to special education and elementary education. We just need for you to have completed a degree, a bachelor's degree from a certified college, or university. Here is a screenshot of our online interest form. And again, you have the QR code for this interest form. You will put all of your information in this form and submit it to us. Please note that you must have a minimum 2.0 GPA to start the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP application process. Please also make sure that the GPA that you're submitting was provided to you at the time of your bachelor degree conferral. So whenever you got your bachelor's degree, that date, we need the GPA to be from that date as well. Also, you have an area on the interest form where you can choose your content area. Please only choose up to 2 content areas. And remember, if you're trying to come into the TAPP program in a specific content area, you have to have those college credits to support that. If you don't have those college credits, when we get the form from you, we'll have to send you an email asking you to either choose a different area, or we'll recommend elementary education or special education, because those 2 areas don't require any previous college coursework. Now, please take note of these 2 deadlines. So for our January 2023 intake deadline, that's our winter intake, you must have your application to our offices by December 9th. Once we get that information, we will go through and we'll see if you have a complete packet. If you do, we will invite you to interviews. Now, let's say you don't make that deadline for the January intake. What you can do is continue working on your application packet and submit it by our May 19th deadline for our August 2023 intake. So that means you would start at the beginning of the school year for the 2023-2024 school year. Now, let's look overall at the application timeline. So as at the beginning, you can see attend a TAPP interest meeting, submit that interest form with the transcript. We've talked about that. You'll get that GACE recommendation from our offices, and then you will take and pass the advised tests. Then you'll submit that full application packet by those deadlines that we just saw. After that, we will invite you to a TAPP program interview. That is an interview with our department to see if you are a good fit for our program. If you pass that interview, then we will send your name out to the principals in our district. Then principals usually will contact our TAPP candidates because they know that they are highly supported and that our TAPP candidates are very, very good, very eager teachers. Please note that it is your responsibility to secure a teaching position at a school. The TAPP program does not place candidates in schools. So after you've got that teaching position, you'll come to our TAPP Essentials, that pre-TAPP Essentials we spoke about earlier. You go to that new teacher orientation. Then after that, you will be the teacher of record in your classroom and you will start your teaching career. So as earlier, as I was talking about our electronic transcripts, we prefer that you submit all of your transcripts in one email. We know that if you have an electronic transcript, it may be coming from an institution, and that's fine. But everything else, we want you to try to get in one email. And you'll send that to our TAPP administrative assistant, Ms. Teresa Brown. You see her email on the screen, teresa.brown2@clayton.k12.ga.us. You can also send your completed packet to our office, and you see that address on the screen. Please make sure that you send that attention to TAPP Selection Committee, Teresa Brown, and that address is 1087 Battle Creek Road, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30236. You can also bring your application packet to that address. Now let's look at some certification information regarding testing and, of course, certification overall. Now, The GACE content tests come in two different ways. Now, if you are trying to do a high school content area, those tests are usually split into two different parts. Now, you can take them together for $193. That's the price at the time of this recording. Or you can take them one at a time for $123 each. Now, you need to think about what kind of test taker you are. If you're a really good test taker, very strong, and you know that two tests at once, you can do that, then I would suggest going with that combined test. But if you're like me and someone who really needs to focus, study, and take one test at a time, then you probably want to do the single tests. Also, at the bottom, we have the price for the Georgia Educator Ethics assessment, and that's an assessment that you take at home on your computer, and it's $30. So everyone must take that as well. You can check the GACE registration page for testing locations and also testing times and windows. Here's a screenshot from the GACE website. There are some test prep materials on the website that you can purchase, like practice tests, interactive practice tests, just to give you a taste of what the test looks like. You can also go to the GACE test prep books that are found on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But again, you do want to study before you take these tests. And please note that all of your tests must be passed in order to apply for the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP program. Now, here are some GACE testing windows that we've pulled from the GACE website. So when you are signing up for a test, you want to make sure that you are aware of when that test will be reported to you. So you may take the test. Let's see, for example, if you took the test July 1st, between July 1st and July 10th, you see that your score reporting date would be July 29th. So remember, if you're trying to hit one of our deadlines, you really need to pay attention to those testing windows and when those scores will be reported back to you. The test that you see on the screen is the elementary education test, and that test is split into two different tests. As I mentioned before, you have test 1, which is test code 001, and then test 2, which is test code 002. You can also take those tests together, and that test code is 501. Now, these other testing windows are for our special education pathways. And again, we're showing you the testing windows for the two different pathways that don't require any previous college coursework. So you see that with the special education content area, you have a lot of tests you got to take. So the first thing you need to decide is whether or not you want to do the special education general curriculum or a special education adapted curriculum. Now, the difference between these two is special education adapted curriculum is going to certify you to teach our students who are moderately intellectually disabled, severely intellectually disabled, the students that fall underneath that umbrella. Usually that teacher in that classroom is with that group of students the whole day. So we call those self-contained classrooms. The students in those classrooms, their cognitive ability usually doesn't go above an 8th grade level. So if you decide to get certified in special education adapted curriculum, that means you can be a teacher from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. And at the top, you also see the general curriculum. Now, general curriculum will be for our general ed students, and that means co-teaching, small group classes, those types of classes. All right. So once you decide, you'll take whichever general curriculum special education tests you want to take, the general or the adaptive. Now, those are just the curriculum tests. You have to take the content tests as well. So on the right-hand side, you see the different content tests you'll have to take. So you have to take special education, mathematics, and science. That test code is 088. And you'll also have to take special education reading, English Language Arts, and Social Studies, and that's 087. So let's say you want to come into our TAPP program and you want to teach middle grades special education. So that's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That means you'll have to take the special education general curriculum test, which you see on the left-hand side, and those two special education content tests, the 088 and the 087. All right, so please remember, you must take the GACE Educator Ethics Assessment. Everyone must take that. And then everyone must take their respective GACE content assessment and pass it to apply for TAPP. We will also provide a TAPP application checklist on our website, so you know exactly the pieces of the application packet that you must have in order to have a complete TAPP application. Remember to send all of your questions that have not been answered in this presentation to Ms. Teresa Brown, our TAPP administrative assistant. You see her email address on the screen. You also have her district phone number on the screen as well. Please note that Mrs. Brown's office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Additionally, please bookmark the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP website for any up-to-date information about GACE testing and the Clayton County Public Schools TAPP program. You see that web address, on the screen. So please make sure that you document that. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Please make sure you contact Miss Teresa Brown if you have any other questions. Thank you.